Hello and welcome on Primetime Watchmaking in the News, and this is our 80th edition. I still can't believe this number myself, but I would like to thank all of you for your support and those who inspire us to provide you with the most important news from the industry and reviews on the latest watch releases. So today's edition will be full of insightful and for some even crucial information, as well as some new detective stories and of course watches. So grab your favorite drink and let's go. So as always, before we begin, I would like to remind you that we published a dozen of great videos on the novelties revealed during the Geneva Watch Days, from Ulysses Nardin's pushing the boundaries with a silicon mainplate for its new Blast Free Wheel Marquetry, to Ressence presenting a new version of the Type 3 coming in eucalyptus green, a piece I have the pleasure of wearing on my wrist as they very kindly lent it to me, and I can just say that I totally got used to it and it will be difficult to hand it back, but already a nice little perk for me. And for those who want to know more about how it works, well, I invite you to check out the video we did a little while back. Clever machinery in this one, and it's always cool to witness the intrigued reaction of people when they see this watch for the first time. But we also talked about the very cool collaboration between H.Moser and MB&F for Only Watch, not their first collab, but they for sure pushed it a bit further with the super sweet Pandemonium minute repeater. We had a very interesting business talk with Vincent Perriard from HYT, coming back on the redevelopment of the brand following its bankruptcy and what it takes to bring it back to life and regain the trust of collectors and the type of products they now need to focus on. Well, everything is available on our channel for those who haven't seen them, plus we also have the unboxing of a special timepiece with the IN-16 Nixie by Gelfman. It's not your usual watch and more of a cool time-telling object, and it's not every day that you can actually wear a Nixie piece on your wrist. Well, highly recommended to check these videos for those who haven't seen them, links below. So let's start with some proper business news, and I guess some of you are waiting for my opinion on the epic acquisition of Bucherer by Rolex that was announced a few weeks back. So one can argue that there were a few signs of something cooking, for instance the CPO initiative created last December, which marked the pathway that the Crown was consolidating its after-sales market. So for me, there are a few reasons behind this big move. Well, firstly, Rolex and Bucherer go way back, and Hans Wilsdorf, the brand's founder, and the Bucherer family have been strong allies since a very long time. There was kind of a personal history between the two. Secondly, Bucherer was owned and operated by Mr. Bucherer himself, and having no descendant and of a slight age, well, there were not that many options apart from being sold to guarantee its future, and this leads to the third point, and not a negligible one, as I think that Rolex wanted to be sure that Bucherer would remain in Swiss hands. Kind of a patriotic gesture. But then it comes to some more rational business reasons, and the Crown having announced already last year that it would decrease the numbers of retail partners and focus more on bigger flagship stores-oriented options, well, now the privately owned Swiss brand dominates the market by virtually every measure, as Bucherer was already the biggest Rolex retailer. So this is the first time a brand owns the boutique that sells its competitors, and this of course represents access to some very interesting consumer data. So definitely a strategic power move, and one that shocked the retail and distributor business, as for instance we witnessed that immediately after the announcements, the publicly traded shares of Watches of Switzerland took a severe hit. However, the deal rumored to be around 4 billion Swiss francs is yet to be approved by the Swiss regulator Comco, which should examine whether it creates or strengthens a dominant position that may eliminate effective competition. So we've been told that Rolex has not yet submitted documents to Comco, therefore the deadline for the examination, which may take up to 5 months, has not yet been triggered, but who knows. So we still need to wait until 2024 for the official confirmation of the deal, but it will probably go through. And since we've been talking about Bucherer, well, it's worth mentioning that Sotheby's teamed up with the retailer to open its first purpose-built ultra-luxury pop-up section within the Zurich flagship store of Bucherer at the Bahnhofstrasse 50. The Sotheby's Salon at Bucherer is claimed to be an innovative retail concept showcasing many categories offered at Sotheby's, luxury watches included, of course. It is also conceived as a social destination for collectors to gather, learn and share their passions, and Zurich as an international luxury hub is the best location to test such a space. Situated on the newly added third floor of Bucherer, the Salon is equipped with a custom-designed wine and spirits bar curated by Sotheby's global head of wine, Vanessa Conlin. So even if you don't go there for a purchase, I mean, the place is probably definitely worth visiting. So another big event we decided to include in the industry news section and not in the new watches, because the outcome for the market will be much more interesting than the product itself. Okay, well, I'm talking about the new collaboration between Swatch and Blancpain, and the watch comes with 5 different color-coded options representing the 5 oceans, and is made from a patented composite mixture of the castor-derived bioplastic and zirconium dioxide ceramic with a strap made of recycled fishing nets. So the bonus points to both brands who managed to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the 50 Fathoms and the 40th anniversary of Swatch and the 10th anniversary of the patented System 51 movement by releasing just one model. In fact, after the unprecedented success of the Moon Swatch, it was quite obvious that 50 Fathoms will be next to go, and I remember hinting at this immediately after the release of the Moon Swatch. But I mentioned the 70th anniversary of the 50 Fathom, and one can easily grasp that they wanted to leverage as much as possible this launch by coming a few days after it with a special bronze version. This is the 3rd watch marking the anniversary of the 50 Fathoms and definitely has a very similar feel to the actual Swatch collaboration. But still talking about this collab, well, it's interesting to note that they integrated the automatic System 51 movement, kind of upping up a little bit the game to match the higher positioning of Blancpain compared to Omega. And I know this is questionable, but this resulted in a higher price point, of course. So all in all, people went, again, quite crazy about this new piece and on its launch day, but it doesn't seem that the hype will be fully repeated compared to the Moon Swatch. Okay, we saw some people selling them with a high premium days after the launch, but today you can already find many buying options with only 10-15% premium. Besides, it's a nice invitation for a younger generation to open the doors to the world of tool watches. But as you probably know, the System 51 cannot be serviced, and quality watchmaking is all about sustainability and is not made to fuel excessive consumerism. Well, we'll see. Well, next will be a package of news, and first is the decision of US-based Hodinkee, the online watch retailer and media backed by Bernard Arnault's LVMH luxury ventures, to cut almost 20% of its staff. I mean, the reason is related to the slump of prices for pre-owned timepieces and the loss-making acquired watch dealer Crown and Caliber. So my guess is that Rolex certified pre-owned program has also played its role in this downfall, making it less appealing to buy its watches on a platform not listed as a CPO, as an official CPO. But Hodinkee for sure remains a rather big player nonetheless. I mean, probably the biggest one. Another watch-related and almost detective story might be reaching its close here in Switzerland. This time it goes back to more than 40 years and concerns John Lennon's long-lost Patek Philippe reference 2499 perpetual calendar chronograph. So this Patek was gifted to Lennon by his wife Yoko Ono for his 40th birthday, less than 2 months before his assassination in New York in 1980. So the watch bears a special engraving with a reference to a song that the couple composed together after a period of separation, and I think you can imagine what song it could be. Well, this Grail watch was considered forever gone, but it appears that it was stolen by Ono's former driver and now is being the main object of a legal affair at the Geneva court. According to the court documents, the watch was traced to Germany, where it was bought by an Italian collector, and he bought this watch for $672,000 and lived happily with this fantastic timepiece until 2014, when he decided to check its provenance. He asked a company based in Geneva to do some digging, and it reached out to Mrs. Ono to clarify the case. And this legitimate request spurred a legal battle over the Patek's ownership. This June, Geneva court ruled in favor of Mrs. Ono, affirming her as the rightful owner of the watch. But the other side made an appeal, which was rejected in September, and according to the Swiss legislation, the Italian collector can now go for a Swiss federal court to seek justice, but I doubt the decision would be any different. Anyway, considering the provenance and the history of this watch, Lennon's Patek could naturally be worth a pretty hefty sum of money. But it just shows again that doing a proper due diligence before the purchase of any timepiece is absolutely necessary if you don't want to find yourself in such a position as the collector's one. Well, we'll keep you posted on the federal court's awaited decision. Okay, before talking about some new watch releases, I just wanted to take you along on a very cool trip I was kindly invited to by the Swiss sailing team participating at the Sail GP event in Taranto in the southern Italy. I guess some of you know that I like sailing, but it had been a little while I could take part in such an event, and what an event. So the Sail GP series was initiated 4 seasons ago by Oracle boss Larry Ellison, winner of the America's Cup, and the brief, if I can say so, was quite simple: make sailing as exciting and entertaining as possible, especially for TV audiences, and I can say that this has been firmly achieved. So to summarize things, the format has a little F1 feel to it, crazy performance boats going close to 100 kilometers per hour, short and intense races, 60 minutes max, the best sailors out there, teams defending their home country, making it easier to support your favorite team. And what's really interesting is that all the boats are strictly similar, meaning that it's only the crew and their experience which will make the difference, especially that all teams can access the data provided by Sail GP to compare performances. Everything is fully transparent, and I could totally witness this as I got to see absolutely everything. Nothing was hidden as I was giving the grand tour of the backstage of this event. One can say that Sail GP is the pinnacle of sailing races, besides the America's Cup itself, of course. And it is no surprise that Rolex is one of the main sponsors of this series. They committed to a 10-year period, and just proves again that when they do things, well, they do it right, not halfway, a bit like when they entered Formula One and really maxed out on the exposure they would get from it. So it was really great for me being able to follow these races, really spectacular, and the notion of time management is taken to its extreme as all maneuvers are planned and executed to the very second. And as I mentioned, I was invited by the Swiss team. It's their second season and they are still in the learning curve, as there is a big advantage for those who participated from the start 4 years ago. Their knowledge of the boat's performance and the team coordination are capital, and this can only be gained from experience, since every team has the exact amount of same amount of time available for practice. Well, I was thrilled to see this with my own eyes, and who doesn't like to go to Italy, right? Okay, but let's now talk watches. Our last edition of Primetime was packed with industry news, and due to the calmer summer period, we mentioned only one timepiece. And today we have some nice releases to share. Vacheron-Constantin and its division Les Cabinetiers, specializing in creating bespoke timepieces, announced the result of an exceptional collaboration with Rolls-Royce. In response to a request from a client who collects both luxury cars and fine watches, yes, some have some very serious issues, both brands united to bring to life a truly unique Rolls-Royce amethyst drop-tail with armillary tourbillon timepiece designed to be displayed on the dashboard of the car. According to Vacheron's archive, it is not the first time that Les Cabinetiers designed a clock for a car. However, the previous case dates back to 1928. This pièce unique that is fully integrated into the car's panel can be removed from its housing if necessary, and the holder also allows the watch to be rotated by 180 degrees for setting, winding, and admiring the reverse of this caliber. So the Cabinetier suggested to the client to equip this unique timepiece with a caliber 1990, which features retrograde hours and minutes indication with instant flyback. The power reserve of this watch is 65 hours, but it was revamped with certain technical developments derived from the famous reference 57-260, the most complicated timepiece in the world, presented by the Maison for its 260th birthday in 2015. So it is worth noting that Vacheron-Constantin is not the only brand that made a clock for Rolls-Royce this year. AP2 presented the concept split-seconds chronograph GMT large date, designed to be integrated into the panel of only 4 Rolls-Royces, La Rose Noire, the most expensive car in the world. So the only difference is that the AP chronograph, you can also wear it as a wristwatch. So now let's move to a more democratic, still yet interesting timepiece. Oris introduced the Divers 65 chronograph, inspired by its iconic Divers watch from the 60s, And the new model has a 40mm case and a refined monochromatic dial design. It comes with the option of a black leather strap or a stainless steel metal bracelet, and the base design echoes Oris's first dive watch of 1965. However, the new model has a 2-counter chronograph powered by an automatic mechanical movement Oris 771 with a 48-hour of power reserve. There's no date window, unlike on the original watch, and diver 65 from last year, and indices and hands are filled obviously with superluminova. In my opinion, it is a nice and solid chronograph that you can wear on a daily basis and be sure that it is a timepiece of a quite exceptional quality for the money. And I mean, it also looks good on a steel bracelet. Okay. And another nice example of a dress watch we would like to show you today is the Chapter 4.7 Onyx Tourbillon C Lémanic by Bayeux. The model is sleek with a deep black onyx stone dial, and the cutout dial showcases a tourbillon at 7 o'clock, and part of the skeletonized hand-wound mechanical movement with 105 hours of power reserve was created by Olivier Maury. So the cool feature here is that there's a mirror film on the back of the dial, which reflects the upper face of the movement seen clearly through the transparent case back. The case is made from stainless steel and is 40mm in diameter. It is water and shock resistant, of course, and there's quite a nice little price advantage for the first customers who are planning to pre-order this timepiece. Okay, and let's finish this prime time with a quick wrap-up of what to expect in terms of event in the coming weeks. And if you're in Mexico City or planning to go there, well, you will have to attend the CR, which will take place between October the 17th till the 19th. Always a great event with no less than 40 brands participating in a good atmosphere. Starting on the 18th and in Asia, well, you can attend the Singapore Watch Fair, which will take place until Saturday the 21st. This event has slightly changed format and will now take place on the Sentosa Island, as they really want to make it bigger and more special. I will be there for most of its duration, and I'm quite happy to do so as autumn is gently arriving around here in Geneva with the weather changes that come along. And next event worth a mention is Watch Time New York, which will occur between the 20th and the 22nd at the Gotham Hall. So yes, quite a few options to see many pieces in the flesh around the world. So a big thank you for watching this edition of Prime Time, the very best to all, and see you real soon with some other fresh news coming your way. Take care and, well, be watchmaking! There you go.